Hi, I'm Chef Andy. Today I'm going to show you how to make some delicious Cornish pasties. Right, first I'm going to make the pastry. So we've got 600 grams of flour, plain flour, and I've got the 300 grams of lard and margarine, and here we have our chilled water. So first of all I'm going to empty all the fat into the flour, and now I'm going to get stuck in. Right, I'm using my fingertips here, breaking it down the fat and rubbing it in. It's what we call rubbing in. I've also added a little bit of salt and pepper to this as well, just to season it lightly. So give it a really good rubbing in here, using your thumbs, using the end of your fingers, breaking it all down because you don't want any huge lumps in there. And what we'll be doing after this is kneading it, bringing it together, and then we'll be leaving it to rest for half an hour in a fridge. And that way it'll be much easier to roll out and make our Cornish pasties. It's coming together now. Make sure you get all the flour from the bottom of the bowl as well. And what you do find is you end up getting very strong fingers after a few years. Quite helpful if you play an instrument like I do. Drums, guitar. Right, so you can see how that's become a lot finer, and the fat is very well incorporated into the flour. So I'm going to make a little well here. And I'm going to put 4 tablespoons of chilled water into the middle. I'm just going to grab a fork and start bringing that together. And just always judge it as well. How it's, I'm going to have to use a little bit more water, so I'm going to go for another 3 more. And because you might, it's always good to just judge how much you need. So yeah, I'm just going to add a bit more water actually. Right, I can feel that starting to come together now. So yeah. Right, here you can see it's coming together into a nice dough, and you can see I'm using my palm here to knead it, and I'm not going to knead it for ages because I don't want to overwork the dough, because that can make it go all crumbly, cause you problems later on. So here it is at the first stage. Now I'm going to go and chill it for half an hour. Hi, right, I'm going to start to put the filling together. All the ingredients and all the amounts that you'll need will be in the description at the bottom of the video, but I'm just doing a demo here, taking you through it. So we've got swede here. I'm just going to show you how I do that. So just breaking it down into thin slices, and then so looking for something like that, quite thin. And obviously I'll be preparing all of that. I'm just doing this for demonstrational purposes. And here's one of my potatoes, keeping the skin on because I quite like the skin. It's organic as well, so you're getting obviously more vitamins. Again, slicing it same sort of thickness as the swede. And yeah, again, same size as the swede. That way it will cook for the similar amount of time. And then I've got my onion here, taking the end off so it sits nicely on the board. Going down the root, taking the skin off. And I'm going to go for a fine dice, so down we go like that. In we go, the same distance apart, about 1/2 centimetre. And down again, 1/2 centimetre apart. All the time you can see my hands are well out of the way. There we are. It's quite kind of rough, fine chop. What also I've got here is some rosemary from my garden I've washed. So I'm just going to pick any thick stems off of the ends. These kind of woody bits here, you don't really want to be chomping on that in the middle of your pasty. And really just using herb wise, it's good to use what you've got around the house. Bit of parsley would be just as good in there. Some thyme. Something that goes well with beef. So I'm just going to break that down, finely chop it. In that goes. Right, and finally we've got some beef here. This is some diced chuck steak from my local butcher. And again, I want to get that into quite nice small bits here. And keeping it all roughly the same size. That way it's going to cook evenly and make sure it's done. Here we are. And I'm just going to prepare all the rest of the ingredients together, the rest of all of that, and speed up the process. Okay. Right, I've got my mix here, all chopped up now. I've added salt and pepper, and making sure I've got a good amount of pepper in there, because it's nice to have a peppery flavour to them. It's quite traditional to have that. And I've added water as well, because it needs to be quite a wet mix, because this actually acts as steam for the filling when it's inside the pasty, and it's just going to help it all cook nicely in the pastry. Right, my pastry is all ready, and what I'm doing is I'm starting with balls about this size, weighs about 140 grams, and I've divided all my pastry up into these size. So starting with a little bit of plain flour on the surface, and I'm just going to quarter turns like this with the pastry, and to keep it into a circular shape that you're looking for. If you feel it's sticking at all, just add a little bit more flour. Okay, so that's the sort of size we're looking for, about 6 inches. I'm going to get, this is egg wash here, which I've made, which is a couple of eggs and a dash of milk. And I'm going to go round one side of the pastry like this. That's going to help stick it together. Now I'm going to get some of the lovely filling. And now simply folding it over like this. Now I'm folding the edges in with my fingers. Don't worry if you get a little leakage like this. Also, I'm going to make a little hole at the top like that for air to come out, and that is one pasty. I'll just show you what I'm going to be doing with the egg wash as well. Got my egg wash, I'm just going to go over the pastry like this. That's just going to help it give it a lovely shine, and just it's going to look delicious. Right, it's time to get these into the oven now. 200 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes. Right, here we have the pasty fresh out of the oven, looking delicious and smelling fantastic. Please feel free to leave any questions or comments below, and you'll find the list of ingredients there as well. Happy cooking!